Hello, this is the new Joseph Evaldi podcast. We're live, and I have a special guest for everyone today on this Patreon page and on this Spreaker page. I have my nephew Eddie Evaldi, who's a player from Hun, and he's ready to graduate. So, Eddie, introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, so I'm Eddie. I'm Joe's nephew. So I'm his brother's kid. I'm a hockey player, and currently I'm a student at the Hun School, and finishing up in about a month or so, and ready to take the next step and play junior hockey, and hopefully play Division I.
Now, I'm gonna discuss a little bit about defense because mention to everybody the role of a defenseman.
Well, I mean, a defenseman's main object is to stop the players from scoring. That's first and foremost. You got to be reliable in your own zone, but also being under 6 foot. Definitely not small, but you have to be able to generate offense as well. You need to be able to move the puck up to the forwards. Join the rush. Get shots on net. That's always important as well. Being well-rounded.
I can relate. I was also in a defense position when I played goaltender for my various teams, and in Woodbridge, I never really played for, in a league or whatever, but I did good as a goaltender, let's just say. And I remember the object was to stop the puck, make sure the person that came in the crease, the puck didn't go in. And you know what I did?
What do you do?
When they came towards my crease and they were just hanging
there,
boom! I don't recommend that, but I got a few penalty minutes for it. yeah. But I'm just saying, defense is very important. It's like defense.
It's the foundation.
It is the foundation. If you don't have a strong back section and strong goaltender, strong defense, and they come in and score, it's it's all over.
When it comes to building a team, you always got to start with the goaltender. If you don't have a strong goaltender, ultimately it's gonna be really difficult to win games. And then from there, you got to make sure your defense is solid. And then forwards lastly.
No, I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let's just say the goaltender.
Yeah.
Lets up 2 goals. Now right then and there, the team's behind. The goal scored, 2 goals, they're down.
Yeah.
Their spirits are down. What do you say to the goaltender to keep their spirits up?
Well, obviously, in being a good teammate, you never criticize your goaltender, because when you do that, ultimately their confidence is going to be, worsened, and, they're ultimately going to let in more goals. What you got to do is you got to tell them, to, forget about it, stuff happens, and we got to carry forward. It's a short game. You can't linger.
Yeah, well, I do agree. Let's just say, I played in some really bad games.
We've all been there.
Let's just say they played a really tough team. I let up 19 goals, and they kept the game going. And I was one after another. I felt like dog crap afterwards. But I would say this. One game was my best. Was where I was playing against a team that cut me. Now, it was the end of the team, end of the season. They stacked the deck, and they don't say they stacked the deck, but they stacked the deck.
Yeah.
And I played defense. They were trying to get in my head. They beat us every single game. We had maybe 8 players. We won that game. And they kept on barraging at the end of the game.
Wow.
I know you've been in games like that.
I have been in games
could
like
you
that.
explain like some games that you've been in like that?
Well, I've been in quite a few like that. Where you go into the game and you look at the other side, you're just like, yeah, my team's done for. There was in one case, I had a game in Canada actually. I was 13 years old, or actually no, sorry, 12. It was my first year hitting. I was playing Europe, and these boys were big. They were like foreign boys. These kids are 13 years old, and the average size of their team was 5'9", 5'10", which keep in mind 5'9", 5'10" is an average size man. All right, and keep in mind these kids are 13 years old, and everybody was extremely fazed by that. The average size of their team was 5 or 6 inches above ours. I mean, it was men amongst boys, and it was absolutely insane, and they were pretty good too. And we saw the warm ups, like, we're gonna get destroyed, and they got up 5-0 in the game.
Yeah,
5-0, and it was close to the second period ending, and all of a sudden we just started picking up our game. We're like, we can play with these guys. We're skilled. 1 goal, 2 goal, 3 goal. And then it's 5-3 with like 5 minutes left. We're like, as soon as we know it, we can win this game.
I'm gonna do a comparison now, and then you continue the story.
Okay.
The Russians.
Yeah.
Number 1 team, 1980. Beat every team. Like, every team, and they were the team.
Yeah.
US got their butts kicked, their asses kicked, all the step of the way, but they kept on growing as a team.
Yeah, exactly.
Then they got beat by the Russians 10-something.
10-3, yeah.
10-3 before, and then the Olympics came. New ball game. New hockey game.
I think the biggest thing, it's obviously not necessarily the skill change. The biggest thing is your mindset when you're going into a game. If you're psyched out and you're not confident in your abilities, then you're not going to perform. But if you go into it and you're like, what, we're a good team. We're just as good as they are. You can't show them any respect, and when that happens, obviously within reason, but pretty much anything's possible. That was the biggest thing, because originally when they went in, they're like, oh my God, these are the Russians. We're a bunch of college kids. These guys are professionals. We can't compete with them. And that's the reason why they got destroyed. They didn't play to their potential. But then, come 2 weeks later, when they beat them 4-3, they came in there and they're like, we're not gonna show them any respect.
But then Herb Brooks spoke to the team, and then
that was the biggest thing. That's what changed their confidence.
Mike Eruzione led the team with Jim Craig and them.
Yeah, I mean their team was phenomenal. From the coaching staff. With Herb Brooks, I mean that speech was something else, something out of and that's what gathered all of them. That's what changed their mindset. When he said, I'm sick and tired of hearing what a great team the Soviets have. It kind of sums up everything.
It's kind of like this. You have things going on.
Yep.
Back then, not to mention about the Cold War or whatever.
Yeah.
They had a lot of things going on in the world that they didn't want to. The Olympics wasn't going to probably happen, but they went on.
Yeah.
The fact is, the U.S. took it to them. It's kind of like a David and Goliath situation.
Yeah.
Where, they didn't let their intimidation get to them. They faced the intimidation and they played.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing. When you're intimidated, you play scared, you're not going to you're not going to be successful. You know what I mean? You're not gonna play to your potential.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reason why they got destroyed. You know, that second game they weren't intimidated by the Russians.
No. Now, I'm gonna flip the script.
Okay.
You have teams that are stacked and playing.
Yeah.
What if you're the number one team and you're playing against the underdog? How do you approach that? And they're ready to take your spot.
You know, I've been in the situation as well. I've played on, you know, a lot of good teams where, you know, we went into games and, you know, we're the front runner, you know. And, you know, you can't, the biggest thing is you can't come in all pompous. And you have to approach every single game the same way. Every single game the same way. Same preparation, same everything. Because if you don't, then, you know, you're in for a rude awakening. I've been in a lot of upsets as well. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing. You can't underestimate them. You have to show them some type of respect, and you have to go in there and do your thing. You know, a lot of times, actually, with my team this year, you know, we came in against teams that we were 5-6 goals better than, even 7, and you know, we came in. You know what? We're going to destroy this team. You know, we didn't prepare the right way. We showed up to the game where we wanted to. And our mind wasn't ready, and ultimately, I mean, we ended up having close games with those teams. So that's definitely the biggest thing.
That leads to leadership.
Yeah, leadership, exactly.
No, we're gonna discuss his leadership. Now, you mentioned a little bit about Mike Eruzione. You had the fortune of meeting Mike Eruzione
when I was 8 years old. Yeah, I had the fortune of meeting Mike Eruzione. You know, he's an amazing guy. You know, very nice guy.
What was his advice for you?
Well, first of all, he just talked about the whole, you know, experience, you know, in beating the Russians and how great that felt. And his was just, you know, you have to build as a team. You know what I mean? You can't have a bunch of individuals, because when you have a bunch of individuals, then, you know, you're not gonna be successful. There's been so many great teams, you know, so many freaking high-end skill players that are, you know, it's jumbled together, and, you know, they play on their own, and, you know, they lose to lesser talented teams.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come together, you know, and, you know, you got to motivate each other, play for each other, and that's ultimately how you're going to be successful. That was the biggest thing that I learned from him.
Now, fast forward 10 years.
Yeah.
You're the captain of the Hun team.
Yep.
You're in that role. Now, needless to say, you know, some say, hey, it's a high school team. You know, some say, like, you know, it's whatever. You're that step before you go to college, you become professional.
Yeah.
All eyes on you. However the team handles itself, that burden and pressure is coming on you. How do you handle it?
I mean, that's a really good question. But honestly, with this year, you know, I wasn't given a lot of time due to, you know, COVID-related reasons. So I only played 3 games as the captain. But in handling the pressure, you know,
and you're handling the pressure during a pandemic.
The biggest thing is you just have to go back to your roots and just realize why you started playing this game.
Yeah.
You know, and you just have to have fun with it. That's the biggest thing. Never forget to have fun. Realize that, I mean, in my opinion, I mean, hockey is, you know, it's the greatest game in the world. You know, I love it so much. And, you know, I don't play, you know, for college professional. You know, obviously that's what I want to do, you know, because I do love it so much. But I play because, you know, I enjoy it so much. You know, you can never lose sight of that. And, you know, in a team setting, you know, you just can't, you know, you have to focus on a team first.
Yeah.
That's always what's most important. You know, you got to gather everybody. You got to make sure everyone's, you know, following along. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's, kind of bring yourself down a step, and just think about your roots. Think about when you were a kid playing the game, and that's what I do, and that's what all the greats do.
When 20 years ago, I'm going to tell you a story about myself.
Okay.
20 years ago, played hockey, then it was time to, you have a decision.
Yeah.
Hang it up, move on. I decided to hang it up.
Yeah.
However, I was choosing a passion of mine that, was very good, writing. Now, I'm going to compare writing to, hockey a little bit.
Everything's connected.
Everything's connected. Now, writing, I was like, kept on at it and everything else.
Yeah.
And I think, if I didn't take that step and continue on with that passion, look at what wouldn't have happened because of it. Now, if I just thought that I listened to everyone and said, hey, you shouldn't do this, and quit, Joe's Writers Club wouldn't be founded.
Exactly.
The podcasting thing, the different avenues.
Yeah.
That leads me to another question.
Okay.
And I know you have your critics.
Yeah, definitely have critics, yeah.
You have your critics that say, why even bother? Why not do it? What's your driving force that makes you do it?
You know what? I just don't care what other people think. That's the biggest thing. Because if you really, listen to all the haters, then there would be no success. You know what I mean? Like, all the inventions we've had, how far we've come as a society. If people actually, listen to all the haters and actually, got down on themselves, none of this would be accomplished. And the thing that drives me is, as I said before, I love the game so much. I mean, my dad put me on the ice when I was a year and a half, and, trained me thousands upon thousands of hours, and I just grew such a strong passion for the game, and I remember being a little kid, and all I can think about was playing in the NHL. I remember memorizing NHL players. It's all I ever thought. I watched hockey all day long.
You schooled me at like 3-4 years old, and I was out of practice.
But the thing is, I was so young, right?
And this was what Woodbridge called Wolfman Joe.
And listen, my hockey career has been it's been something else. I mean, I developed later than everybody else.
Yeah.
I hit my growth spurt around 16 years old, which is considerably late, and around that 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old range, I dealt with a lot, of crap. From everybody. I mean, I was once, touted as the, number one kid in my birth class across the entire world. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was nobody. I saw kids committing Division I. I saw, kids getting signed here, getting signed there.
And then you gotta keep your confidence up. You're in, to make a comparison.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a comparison of The Rock. Now, Miami, he's a part of the Hurricane team, or he's a part of the college football team in Miami, and then gets injured, falls behind. He has a worn sack, and then he has another guy coming up, and they're hungry for that spot that he lost. And the next thing he knows, just like that, he's not playing in the NFL. He's playing in the CFL, and he's got to do something else. That's why, explain how you keep your focus up when you see all these people drafting, and you gotta keep going.
Yeah, when all that was happening, it was obviously really, really hard on me. I mean, I got really depressed for a minute, and to be honest with you, I mean, there came a time where I was like, Dad, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I dealt with so much, aggravation. I'd go into games and I was scared to play because I was so much smaller than everybody else. And it was tough because, I knew I deserved it. And, everyone told me, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to be, this 5'7" kid that, no one likes. Granted, I didn't end up being 5'7", I'm 5'11" now.
But then, I'm sure, you down, and then something in you is like,
absolutely.
You're staring Goliath in the face, and you're saying, okay, keep coming, and then boom.
I eventually, hit my growth spurt, right, and started to get these abilities that I didn't have before, right? That's what puberty does for you. And, I realized to myself, I was like, who were these kids before? You were the top guy, you were the top dog. These guys were nobody before, and that's what drove me. I was like, you know what? I love this game so much, and these kids don't deserve it over me, because I'm like, what did they do that was so different? Okay, they developed earlier than me. That's Mother Nature. That happens. You know what I mean? And even actually the built-up adversity makes me even want it even more.
That's this competitive driving edge. That's what builds the story when you get there, because when you get there, you're gonna care about your team.
Yeah.
You're gonna care about getting them to where they need to go, and you to help to guide the ship. Now I'm gonna ask one more question.
Okay.
Non-hockey related.
Okay.
Who is your favorite inventor of all time?
Ooh.
It just shifts gears a little bit.
Favorite inventor of all time? Wow, that really caught me by storm. I gotta think about that. I would probably say, yeah, you really hit me with that one. You know what? I would say, Henry Ford.
Henry Ford.
With the car invention, definitely like that invention. Able to, drive my car around instead of having to walk or run everywhere. It's really convenient. And I know he dealt with a lot, and spent a lot of time and aggravation and developing his model. So definitely inspired by that.
See, my favorite inventor. No, if I said this, I'm sure one of my adversaries. No, not adversaries. I'm sure one of my former podcasters that I podcasted with would be looking at me funny, but I would say Thomas Edison. See, not necessarily the person or whatever, but the fact is he developed the mastermind to get all the inventions, which I'm happy to say one of the Victrola records is somewhere in the house. And he failed how many times to get the light bulb, but got the light bulb once. Right. And you have electricity. So I just say it with that. We're running out of time. I'm not gonna plug anything except watch him play at wherever you're playing.
I'm playing for the most likely for the St. Cloud Norsemen, the North American Hockey League.
Yeah.
They're out of Minnesota.
Yeah. And I'm gonna plug my Patreon page, the Joseph Evaldi Network, and the Spreaker page. I would plug a lot more, but I don't know what I can do and what I can't do. So just say it like that. And Eddie, nice to have you on in the podcast. Hopefully we could do more of this in some time.
Hopefully, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, have a good night. This is the new Joseph Evaldi podcast.